Hello there, YouTube. Thanks for popping by. If you were listening or watching, we're likely on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, turn on alerts after you subscribe. That way, you'll know when we go live. Sometimes it's a little later than 1 o'clock because you got two chatty Cathys over here. Blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't me. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Tuesday, July 19th. If you're listening to this podcast in audio form, if you're joining us in the video version, it might be Monday, July 18th, which is how, this podcast is basically a daily DeLorean traveling through time and space. And joining me on this incredible journey of an off-season podcast, Ryan Wilson. How you doing, buddy?
Time and space headed for nowhere. It's like the intro to the Twilight Zone. If you remember that. You ever watch that old one, like the 60s version with Rod Serling?
No.
Those are so good.
Scared me.
Yeah, it was like scary. Like there's a young Ron Howard plays like an evil kid in one of them. They're actually pretty good for people who haven't seen that. Debo, haven't talked to you in a while. I know you know sort of the backstory. Brinson sent me $300 on Venmo for the tattoo that hopefully will take place next month in Nashville together. Do you know, after he solicited our poor viewers and listeners, what that number is now up to? 300 plus how many dollars?
I think my last update I got was 473, something in that range.
Yeah, we're north of $500 now.
Brian's like shocked that like these podcast listeners would send him $200 to get this tattoo.
Well, now, I mean, we have to lay out the specifics of what this tattoo is going to look like. Because it's
boy, here we go.
No, we've talked about this.
Another attempt to try and wiggle your way out of it. Oh, boy.
We've talked previously that it's not going to be Ryan Finley's actual face because Breach has to draw it. And I think
you can get a circle tattooed at this point. I don't care.
I think I'm going to get like a
dolphin?
No, I'm going to get like I had to look these up because I mean Ryan Finley's face would be idiotic. Like I'm just not doing that. But I will get Ryan Finley's like name and number on the tattoo. But I think I'm going to get. You want me to tell you? You want me to wait until Breach is on the podcast?
I want you to tell me because then plus that'll make if we then after you tell me.
The reason I mention this because my concern is that people are giving all this money thinking that's going to be Ryan stupid Finley's face is on my arm, which I think we sort of agreed a while ago. But, as you like to do, you like to stir the pot. So who knows?
I want you to tell me so that way we can in Slack, right? Oh, my God, Wilson told us what the tattoo will look like. And then Breach will have to listen to the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Just one free download. I'm just being a promiscuous podcast host, basically.
Promiscuous. Let me see if I can find. I found this. Oh, yeah. I don't hate this one. And the reason I don't hate it is because when I was younger, I was a really big fan of this. I won't say anymore. So we won't clue Breach in. So I'll put this in Slack in just a second. But anyway, so yeah, we're over $500 because people are crazy. But yeah, I appreciate it. Don't send any more.
What's the design?
I'm going to get it. Just relax. I'm continuing to talk because people can't see me doing
you're
this.
Filibustering while you put it in Slack.
Yeah. So I was just saying,
don't sit listeners what it is.
I thought you didn't want Breach to see it.
No,
I'll put it in here and you can describe it. So anyway, don't send any more money is what I was going to say.
It's if you want to send Wilson more money to get the tattoo, I'll tell you what his Venmo is.
We don't need any more. Nada said that north of 450s.
The more money you get, the better it is for everybody involved. If you want to send Ryan Wilson money for his tattoo, it is on Venmo at Ryan-Wilson-37831.
Rolls off the tongue.
It really does. These are fun. Oh my God. I can see your
You can see what?
I can see your Venmo history because you're public.
I think I only pay like what's it? Tell me what it is. I think I paid for like old man soccer leagues and what else is that?
Soccer, all caps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was paying to the person who ran it.
Yep. So let's see. So you put the design in Slack.
Yeah.
Fine. I guess I'll open up Slack. I guess I should have that open.
I mean,
I forgot I closed
the level of effort you put into your job is astounding.
It's pretty amazing. Wait, if you're going to get a Joe Burrow Snoopy, that's a great tattoo.
Does that meet the requirements of in lieu of Ryan Finley?
I think you can get Ryan Finley's number instead of the Joe Cool.
Well, Joe Cool is sort of the Snoopy gag from back in the day, like when as part of the Charles Schultz. I was a big Snoopy fan when I was growing up, like 8, 9, 10 years old. That's why that sort of caught my attention. But maybe I was thinking maybe maybe a Snoopy ankle tattoo with RF on it or something. Like I thought that'd be funny.
If you get a Joe Cool Snoopy Bingles tattoo, that more than meets the requirements, I believe. And Breach is excitedly typing in Slack.
Breach, who's supposed to be working today, is clearly just waiting for Snoopy tattoos to drop in our.
Breach wants one of those. He says, I might get one of those.
Maybe Breach is on the YouTube. All right, well, good. We all agree. So if you're it
needs to have some sort of Ryan Finley incorporation into it.
Debo, you have any suggestion of where the Ryan Finley part should come in? Should you get a Ryan Finley neck tattoo, Snoopy? How about that?
When he's 17 when they won, you just put 7. No, I'm saying just put a 17 on his shirt.
I think the stat line is still a funny way to incorporate it because it adds like a level of intrigue.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And it was not good, and they still won.
Yeah, no, that works. Absolutely.
What do you think? Go?
Under Joe Cool.
It'd be funny is if,
or maybe like a belly tattoo that says no regrets.
What if you do this Joe Cool tattoo, but then like Snoopy has an ankle tattoo of Ryan Finley's face?
Well, that'd be too small because it's like, is it going to be as big as this man's forearm?
This guy's got. I mean,
I was thinking, like I said, RF on the ankles.
Disgusting, by the way. Like groom that stuff, pal.
Oh my gosh! Listen, who's giving grooming advice? Yeah, we can work out the particulars. I think Debo's ideas is a worthy one, and the RF recognition somewhere. I don't want to put it like if you put his face on the tattoo, it's going to look like a mole. It'll look like the little mole on the guy's arm there. Anyway, if you've donated, go watch this on YouTube. Take a look at it, and then I guess you can. Can you text people over Venmo now too? It feels like you can.
What did you? Oh my
I don't
God.
use
What
Venmo.
is the oldest thing I've ever heard anyone say?
I've said plenty of older stuff. Anyway,
people via Venmo.
Let me know if you hate it, if you like it, if you want your
How
money
would
back.
the face space chat work?
Yeah, if you don't like it and you want your money back, let me know. I'll give it back to you. I'm certainly, and we'll make Brinson pay for more of it. So win-win.
By the way, shout out to the podcast listener that when we gave Wilson's Venmo out, requested $1 million.
Oh, that was fantastic.
You should everyone who's listening to this podcast should go send Wilson absurd financial.
Go for it. I check Venmo once a month. And the only reason I know I get Venmo updates is via email because email lets me. I don't go to Venmo. How many times are you looking at Venmo a day?
I mean, 0.
Right. Like you're not texting people over Venmo, right?
I actually don't have Venmo alerts turned on my phone. I don't think. Which is
get a tattoo, and you might want to do that.
Again, at Ryan-Wilson-37831. Either send him money or send him absurd financial requests.
I am pleasantly surprised that the lack of pushback on this tattoo. That makes me feel actually good and worried.
I am. I mean, look, I'm with Sim and Stim in the chat. I'm a little disappointed that it's not Ryan Finley's face, because like Ryan, like that was part of the thing. But just the fact that you will be getting a tattoo.
Let me open up the chat here.
Well, I just think that like I was doing radio with JLC Jason Lockenfora in Baltimore, and he was like, is the tattoo thing? And this is like a month ago. He's like, is the tattoo thing dead? I was like, pretty much. Like I think Wilson is basically like basically exploited me and Breach so like our weaknesses so well that he's going to just wiggle his way out of it, and then fast forward, and now you're getting a tattoo in Nashville live on the podcast. So like, I don't really care what you get as long as you get needles
live on it's live on the podcast. I don't know what the podcast schedule is. I'm happy for it to be, but that seems like a boring podcast of me yelling and screaming for 30 minutes.
100% will be our most downloaded show of the entire year.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Like way by like a long shot, I would guess.
Yeah, by the time this podcast is over, I'm gonna have 2 sleeves, my face can be tattooed just to get the
Mike Tyson tiger face tattoo.
Yeah. By the way, the Birdman, the basketball player,
yeah,
dude's got a lot of tats.
that is a factual statement.
All right, anyway, that's the update. What are we doing?
Speaking of tattoos, I will get a tattoo if
here we go.
The Pick Six Podcast wins People's Choice Podcast Award for Best Sports Podcast of the Year. Now,
how do you vote?
What's up?
How do you vote?
I was about to tell you. First of all, we have to get to the finals. There's only like 5 podcasts, I think, in the finals. Annoyingly, I believe that the category is actually titled the ESPN Fantasy Focus Podcast Award.
That's awesome.
So it's like if CBS, if Jamie and Azer and Dave,
that's fantastic,
won the award. Like if CBS wins that award, if the CBS Pod wins that award, it's like congratulations. Here's your ESPN It's like, why would you?
It's like John Breach winning the Will Brinson Male Model of the Year award.
That is actually a perfect example. Yes, correct. But if you want to help us get to the finals and potentially open up the door for me to get a tattoo of listeners' choices, go to podcastawards.com/app/sign up, toggle down to the sports category, select Pick Six Podcast. We move forward and we win the award. I will get a tattoo. I don't think it'll be done by the time we go to Nashville, which is like kind of quietly approaching.
Oh, please, let's not overset the expectations here. This has taken what, a year and a half.
I'm just saying, like, if the award was given out before we went to Nashville, you and I would just get tattoos at the same time, live on the, and then
Andy Bernard style, butts up.
We will know if we've reached the finalist stage, but we won't know the winner by the time we're in Nashville.
Oh, well, that's an idea. You could get a prelim tattoo. Like if you
I don't
make it to. All right, shut that one down right quick.
Yeah, I'm not getting a prelim tattoo, like a promise ring tattoo.
Yeah, like a pre-engagement. That's a thing now. I think you get a pre-engagement ring.
Lunatics, these youngsters. All right, let's talk about impact rookies. I don't really know. Oh, by the way, you can do that. You can do the voting at the top of the episode description as well. If you're on your phone, you're listening, you're like you're driving, listen to the podcast. You're like, I don't really want to enter in podcastawards.com. Click the link in the podcast description. I don't really know where this list of rookies is coming from, but this is a pretty good list of impact rookies.
Debo asked me to prepare. I prepared, and rookies report today in Buffalo and in Las Vegas, and the other list.
That's why
Rookies report tomorrow in Atlanta, Baltimore, New Orleans, New York, New England, Miami, and LA Chargers.
Again, the amount of effort I put into this is pretty staggering.
Yes, clearly.
So we'll start in Buffalo. Do you want to do this just team by team real quick?
Just go down the line, because again, Buffalo and Las Vegas are rolling out the rookies today, and Debo just wanted to list some names that keep an eyeball on.
Well, I think the Bills. So let's start. Let's just rip through the teams. We'll just rip through these teams. These are the teams that are reporting today or Monday, July 18th. I mean, it's crazy. Like as Adam Gold asked me, he's like, "Did we have a summer?"
I know.
I mean, like, I thought
it gets shorter and shorter. By the way, one of the most annoying things, and I love Dave Richard, but when he tweets out 12 more weekends,
I don't care for it. It's like, no. Dave's like, no, so somebody asked me, they were like, man, are you pumped that like training camps here and like football's
No.
not? Like, no,
I'm not.
I almost said F no. Geez. I almost pulled a Wilson and cussed in the podcast. No, I'm not. I don't. I
know Prisco gets angry every time Dave tweets that, so I can give Dave a hard time.
I want summer to last as long as possible. And I want
your whole life is one big June, by the way. So I don't know what summer
are you waiting for me to disagree?
No, I was just letting that sink in.
Anyway, yeah, nobody's happy that football's back. I mean, we love football. Don't get me wrong. When football's here, I'll be thrilled. But I do enjoy.
I think there's a lot of hype lead up that can wear you out. It's like in your case, like when a new Marvel movie's coming out, they spend months promoting the crap out of it. I don't know if you'd be disappointed, but I would imagine some folks get angry at whatever happens.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I think this stretch of time from mid-July to mid-August is, if you do this professionally, like if you write about football for a living or you talk about football for a living, whatever, is like after you've done it for like a decade, you're kind of like just fast forward to August. You know what I mean? Like.
And in our defense, we are doing virtually zero writing, but this is the time of year where you're just making up stuff to throw against the wall to hope that people read it. Like 10 reasons that your team, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. People like reading those things and fans are interested. And I get all that, but they get tough to write after year 7.
Exactly. Like we're not trying to sound like jaded old sports writers, but we kind of are.
I'm jaded. I'm old.
Yeah, we're old as
podcasters.
Old podcasters. All right. Anywho. The Bills. I think the Bills rookies are fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Khair Elam, their first round pick, cornerback, not having to come in and be the number one guy.
Trey White's coming back from the ACL, so that's good.
Yeah, like the Bills probably have the best top to bottom roster in the NFL.
This is a team that went to the draft with zero needs,
and still but James, like they have Devin Singletary.
Do not compare him to James Cook. I found that out the hard way over draft weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did get crushed for that. They have Zach Moss too. I don't think they love Zach Moss, but I could be wrong.
No, I think that's last I heard. That's right.
James Cook is fascinating to me because as Debo put this in chat, 15-1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I actually did NBC's Sports Edge with my buddy Drew Dinsick on Monday, and
oh right, he's your buddy. Is he the one you saw in L.A.?
Yeah, I went to the
Palisades
Lakers game with him.
Oh, that was someone else.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Oh no, that's my pal Craig, who's like just my real life friend. I mean, Drew's my real life friend too, but like I've known Craig. I like went to school.
He's not my Instagram friend.
IRL, buddy. Anyway.
Wow, these odds are interesting. 15-1 on Cook, and
I think Cook is a good bet at 15-1. Like I don't want to compare him directly to TJ Watt, but like you're talking about like literally like Dalvin. Isn't he Dalvin Cook's?
Oh, I see. I was wondering where you're going with that. Okay, go ahead. Yep.
Like
you're right.
You have this lineage where you know that football runs in the Cook family veins. And the idea that like this guy can't be a feature back is I think a little short-sighted.
Well, then I need some glasses because I'm not convinced that he is going to be a feature back. Just based on the way he was used at Georgia, he's a lot smaller than his brother Dalvin in terms of taking hits. He's a good player, but I didn't like him taking this high. Again, that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. If he comes out and plays extremely well, who cares? But I just wonder. I know what his role is going to be. He's going to be a receiver out of the backfield more than a running back, I think.
Probably.
And I think that's great. I mean, that's one more weapon for Josh Allen. And again, in terms of the 15-1 odds, he doesn't have to be the best player in this class, but if he's a guy who catches 40 passes and then rushes for 400 or 500 yards and scores 8 or 9 touchdowns, I mean, okay. I'm sure that the Bills would take that, no questions asked. And so in that sense, I understand it. There's some running backs I like better than him, but that doesn't mean the fit, as we say all the time during draft season, doesn't matter because I think the fit is pretty good.
I'm also curious to see if the Bills use Devin Singletary the way that they did the final 4 games of the season for the full year in 2022, because he averaged 19 carries and 81 yards per game with 5 rushing touchdowns over this 4-game stretch. Like that's
how many passes came his way?
He was targeted 10 times, caught 8 of them for 73 yards and a touchdown.
I think that's probably the blueprint then with James Cook now on the scene. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's again, like maybe if they view Devin Singletary as a feature back and Cook is sort of if Singletary is going to be the Bills feature back, then 15-1 is actually a bad number. Because I think
it's if it's 60-40 leaning towards Devin in terms of carries.
60-40?
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable. I don't know.
Cook could have a monster year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 80-20.
Okay.
Maybe early on and then he gets comfortable.
Either way, like these, I think like, and I don't bet Elam to win Defensive Rookie of the Year because I think it's like 20-1. But only three defensive backs have won the award since 1998.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to be in a division with Tua. I mean, I don't know. You can do the math. Tua, Mac, and Zach. Those are all young quarterbacks. How many interceptions are going to throw?
That's fair.
Should be more interceptions than what you would think would be a veteran.
Well, Marcus Peters won it in 2015 and had led the league with 8 interceptions, which is a ridiculous total.
Was he with the Chiefs? He was drafted by the Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm. And then Marshawn Lattimore won it in 2017, and he had 5 picks. So like you have to have like a lot of interceptions to win that award as a defensive back.
I said that Jeffrey Okudah, also out of Ohio State, would be a better player than Marshawn Lattimore coming out of college. Oops. There's still time, but Jeff, I need you to pick it up.
I think time is up on that one.
We'll see. Yikes. So Kerry Elam, obviously, I love that pick. James Cook, we talked about. They drafted Khalil Turner. Day 3, I believe, early day 3. And he's an interesting guy. He's a slot guy who can run really fast. And they got Matt Ariza, the guy who can punt the ball 4,000 yards. I want to see how that works out. I don't know if he's from California, but he went to San Diego State.
The podcast, Matt Ariza?
Did he talk to him at the combine? I don't know if Josh maybe talked to him separately. I don't know. But we talked to him at the combine. He was a great guy. But I want to see how the punt yards translates when you go from California to Buffalo in December. So that'll be something to watch.
I agree with that. The Raiders
didn't have a ton of draft picks, in part because of Devontae Adams. So I just focused on 2 here. Dylan Parham, who will play on the inside of the offensive line out of Memphis, and then Zamir White, who was James Cook's running mate at Georgia, who is a sort of a bigger, more quote unquote prototypical between the tackles runner. Two guys on the offense to keep an eye on to go along with Devontae Adams and Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs and your dude Hunter Renfrow. Like, I think the Raiders are going to finish with a better record than the Broncos. I think I've said that before, but I'm gonna lean into that.
I like it. I like that's a good, nice, warm take. It's not a crazy hot take. It's a nice,
I
warm
don't
take.
think it is either. And what do we know about what's the new coach in Denver from Green Bay? What's his name?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett. Like, he's supposed to be a good dude, but I don't. What do we know anything about him as a head coach and dealing with big personality? Well, he has a lot of experience with Aaron Rodgers, and they got along well, so I guess that's a check mark for in that column. But I feel more comfortable with Josh McDaniels in round 2 of his
That's
head
fair.
coaching.
Hackett, by the way, was also the offensive coordinator for the 2017 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, that team was good.
Yeah.
Like, Blake Bortles, either he was responsible or Blake Bortles had that spurt where he made himself a lot of money.
Indeed. So yeah, I mean, I think, the Raiders impacts, rookie impacts. I mean, if like it's probably more going to be about Devontae Adams. Like, that's their.
And Richie Incognito just retired. I think he last played with the Raiders.
He wanted to retire as a Raider. Man, Richie Incognito provided us some bloggable stories.
I mean, over a decade's worth.
Insane. Like, literally insane stories. Like, what is the one about the funeral home?
I don't remember that one. I can't remember I don't remember the player's name he was bullying. The other offensive lineman in Miami. Remember that? Yeah.
Martin.
I mean, Jonathan Martin. It's been so long ago. Debo.
Actually, you know what? Hey, suck it. Say people say I don't write anymore. Maybe I don't.
You found the Jonathan
Martin.
Martin
If you Google Richie, this is maybe I don't want to say this is my favorite headline I've ever written, but it's definitely one of the weirdest headlines I've ever written. Police report, Richie Incognito wanted to cut off his dead father's head at funeral home.
Oh my God. Yeah. Who let that be a headline?
According to a copy of the arrest report, employees of Messenger's Pinnacle Peak Mortuary told Scottsdale police that the former Pro Bowler said he wanted his father's head cut off for research purposes, and then he walked through the funeral home punching caskets and throwing things. Witnesses told police that Incognito was supposed to sign cremation papers, but was unwilling to cooperate initially. He then proceeded to walk through the funeral home, punching caskets and throwing things. After, quote, making himself comfortable, end quote, in the office of one of the victims, Incognito wanted to buy flowers for the funeral and everything they had before offering him his credit card. Yikes.
Yeah, how about that? That was
that's a crazy story. That was only
2018. Crazier is that you actually used to write back then.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more Impact rookies next.
Can someone please tell me what's going on?
You went ballistic on everyone.
I want in your water park right now!
And then you went full nuclear, Karen.
Go, kids, go!
Ah! I want to speak to your
South Park, The Streaming Wars Part 2. Now streaming.
I'll put you on TikTok. You're all about to be fired.
Exclusively on Paramount Plus.
You don't see it or hear it if you're listening to the podcast, but we have commercials on YouTube, and they've been South Park a lot lately with Paramount Plus. We're owned by Paramount. It's the greatest thing. Like, it's one of my favorite things. It's like the fact that we have South Park commercials on this podcast makes
this podcast listenable.
It warms the heart. Okay.
Let me ask you this: as I was watching that commercial, I mean, Simpsons is 1 and South Park is 2 in terms of best animated comedy series ever, right?
I mean, I would take South Park personally, but
yeah, Simpsons has been around for 35 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's 3. I don't even know what 3 would be. Like, Archer's great, but Archer had a short run.
Archer's great. Archer's still going. Family Guy would probably be the default. Did you ever watch Rick and Morty, by the way?
No.
Oh my God, Rick and Morty is great.
Yeah, I'm not into the animation scene, so maybe I'm not one to speak on this. But I know people like Rick and Morty, Family Guy, the Cleveland Show, like all the Seth. What's Seth's last name? MacFarlane.
Yeah,
they have their place. The one with the American Dad. I didn't hate that. But yeah, I think clearly number 1 and number 2 are Simpsons.
Family Guy probably gets a nod at 3.
Maybe. Did that have that run for more than 10 years?
Oh yeah, I think so.
All right,
I'll check. Hold on. I think I would say easily more than 10 years. but I could be also
All right. While you look that up, I'll move on to
20
the-
seasons.
20 for real?
Yeah, started in
Pick up.
1999.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. There you go, Family Guy. Well done.
Okay, more impact rookies. The Falcons are man.
They open up on the 19th, Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's right. Tuesday the 19th. Drake London has to be an impact rookie. It's almost impossible for him not to be. Tyler Algier out of the running back out of BYU.
I actually love him.
He's a sneaky. I begin. Debo, if you happen to have his odds in front of you, just even better.
Debo ain't playing. Debo ain't playing. Dang, Drake London is number 2 behind Kenny Pickett.
Dude, like, first of all, Kenny Pickett should not. Don't bet. Nobody bet Kenny Pickett. He's not starting week 1. But don't bet.
Do not bet Kenny Pickett if he were if they kidnapped Mac Jones and traded him to the Patriots. I have very low expectations.
Algier is 100. That is a bet. Like that is a bet.
That's a great bet. So Tyler Algier reminds me of James Conner. So James Conner was drafted when Le'Veon Bell was in his prime or close to his prime, but he's
54-1 for me for Algier. So 100-1 if you can bet on Caesars. That is I'm gonna go get Algier in right now. I think.
Man, those are some. He's down at the bottom with guys who have no chance of winning. That's interesting.
Yeah,
and
I mean, he has just and here's the interesting thing. And I mentioned that I was on with Drew Dinsick talking about we're doing this rookie discussion on Monday. What's interesting about the offensive rookie of the year is that since 2010, only 3 times has the winner for the offensive rookie of the year been on a team that won 10 or more games.
Well, that's great news for Tyler Algier.
Correct. Because the point being is you don't have to be on a good team to win offensive rookie of the year. Now, quarterbacks tend to get favored here a little bit if they have a good season, but
his quarterback class
is not good. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of these quarterbacks play. Like Desmond Ridder, who's maybe an impact player for the Falcons. I think they'll probably play Mariota a ton. And no one loves to run the ball more than Arthur Smith. Tyler Algier at 100-1 is just an automatic bet.
I love Tyler Algier at the same number as Drake London is, which I think is plus 700. Because Drake London needs someone to throw him the ball and have that quarterback be protected. Can you name 2 other running backs on this Falcons roster?
Cordarrelle Patterson count?
Yep.
They cut Mike Davis, I think, right?
Yep, they cut him.
I'm bringing it.
Exactly. That's my point. Damian Williams, Quadri Allison's still there. So, I mean,
Damian Williams is not on this. Yes.
There's going to be ample opportunity for Tyler to win the job.
And here's the other thing too is like, yeah, they added Brian Edwards via trade, and you draft Drake London, but like your receivers and Auden Tate, some people like is it Ian Hartitz of PFF is like the Auden Tate hive, but like by and large speaking, I think there's a better chance that Cordarrelle Patterson is split out more frequently because of the lack of receiving talent on this roster and because they added Algier. Is it Algier or Algier?
Algier.
100-1 is a bet. That's gonna close around for like 40 or 30-1. As soon as people start peppering it, it's gonna come.
Yeah, it's weird that it's this high, like in the same ballpark as Ellaby's a quarterback who's going to struggle to make the roster. Ely might be the same way, the running back out of Ole Miss. Quandre Wright's out of South Carolina. Romeo Doubs. I mean, he may not. He'll maybe he makes the team. I don't remember who drafted him. The wide receiver in Nevada. So yeah, it's crazy that he's this far down the list. I love this game, but BYU.
Like all that has to happen is Cordarrelle Patterson is split out more frequently or gets hurt.
But Cordarrelle Patterson, how many carries did he average last year? He wasn't carrying the ball 20 times a game, was he?
No, but he was carrying the ball a lot. He had 153 carries.
Okay. Well, that's 10 a game. A little less.
Yep.
All right. So that's the Falcons.
69 targets for 52 catches.
Not a lot to love in terms of wins and losses as we sit here, but obviously some bets you could make for Rookie of the Year. And again, I like Tyler Algier better than Drake London. even if they're both at plus 700, who are you taking?
Probably London.
I think I'm still taking Algier.
Wow.
London's got to share carries or share targets with Kyle Pitts. Who's throwing the ball? Who's protecting the quarterback that's throwing the ball? Just turn around and give the ball to Algier and fingers crossed.
All right, fair enough. The Baltimore Ravens brought in Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, two, you would think, pretty impact rookies. Although obviously, they're reporting on the 19th. Hamilton's not a lock to start. Is he starting? He's a lock to start, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. They brought in Marcus.
Yeah, especially if you play a bunch of sub packages, which everyone does now.
He'll start.
Yeah.
Maybe. Look, man, the Ravens defense is don't bet Kyle Hamilton 11-1, by the way. Again, defensive backs rarely win this award. Derek Stingley and Ahmad Gardner, I wouldn't bet those guys at 10-1. Like, if you can get a flyer on them and maybe they lead the league in picks, then that's great. But 10-1 is not a great number for those guys. Typically,
are you going to bet Tyler Linderbaum as offensive rookie of the year to follow the Garrett Bradbury footsteps?
I actually thrashed you guys because I was looking it up and didn't somebody who was I talking about? Some offensive lineman got one vote for an award. I was like, ha, it is possible.
Yeah, if you're good. It was probably what's his name for the Chiefs last year, the center from Oklahoma. God, what's his name?
Creed Humphrey.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey.
I think it was might have been Trent Williams for MVP.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant rookie of the year.
No. Anywho, I think Kyle Hamilton can be an impact rookie, but 11-1 is a terrible number for him. Like Jordan Davis, 12-1 is a terrible number too. Like Jordan Davis, but like he's getting rotational snaps.
Or even if he plays every snap, how many sacks is he getting as a zero technique? I mentioned two other guys on this list for Baltimore. They drafted two tight ends, Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely, who we know that the Ravens like tight ends. We know they didn't like Hollywood Brown and what's his name? Lamar wasn't happy about that. But I want to see how these rookie tight ends fit into a system that includes obviously Mark. What's Mark's last name? Mark Andrews, excuse me. So two other names to keep an eye on. I don't think there's going to be any. I don't even know if there are odds for either Kohler or Likely to win any sort of awards, but they could be a part of that offense that folks aren't talking about right now because it's the middle of July, but ultimately be pretty important.
Don't disagree at all, but let's go to the next team.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints also reporting on the 19th. Chris Olave and Trevor Penning. They're two first-round picks. Like, I mean, remember they gave up a future first to get that in that bizarre trade.
Yeah, we're not talking enough about that. Maybe that's because it's been summertime, but that trade still maybe it justifies itself, but it's still a weird trade, bizarre to use your words.
Penning needs to be pretty good right out of the gate. And look, they lost Teron Armstead. Presumably, they're going to leave Ryan Ramczyk on the right side. Maybe. I mean, that could change because Sean Payton's not involved. But so Penning is probably their starting left tackle, and
that's a lot to ask for an FCS player. Who actually I love. He was fantastic when we talked to him at the combine. And he's nasty and all those other things. But again,
was he huge FCS?
Yeah, he went to University of Northern Iowa.
Is Northern Iowa really FCS?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know why I think that.
Yeah, I think they played Iowa early in the season. They played a Big 12 team, and he held his own. But I mean, you give up Teron Armstead and a bunch of draft picks to get Olave and Penning, so they both need to work.
Yeah, you're right. FCS. Right.
God, I hope I would know that. But yeah, anyway, it looks like Penning will probably start. Who knows on what side? And then Chris Olave. I didn't love him as much as other guys, but that doesn't mean anything. He's a really good player. I thought he was going to be a first round pick. He was I think the first or second or third wide receiver drafted. He was drafted higher than I thought he'd go. But in that offense, he makes a ton of sense. We'll see what happens with Mike Thomas. Alvin Kamara will be back, assuming there's no suspension for whatever happened in Las Vegas earlier this year. And then Jameis will be back. So we'll see what Jameis is like post ACL. I thought last year was his best year in the league before he got hurt on, I think
it's overrated, I think, but whatever.
What's overrated about it?
We're not doing a Jameis talk. We can do Jameis talk later.
Okay.
This offense has the potential to be a good offense. But
if my other take was a warm take, my hot take is that they win the division.
That is a nuclear hot take.
At some point, Tom Brady has to come back to earth, doesn't it? Maybe does he still care? What if he doesn't care?
Area man fades Tom Brady.
What year? Yeah, what year was this story from?
Area man loses money fading Tom Brady. Like, the tale is all this time.
1999 to 2023.
But like, I don't think it's crazy to suggest that Olave and Trevor Penning are the key to this offense.
Yeah, Trevor Penning, is he an upgrade over Teron Armstead? No,
Oh,
that's
no,
the
but I'm
problem.
saying, like, if Olave and Trevor Penning are hits out of the gate, this offense can be really, really good.
So
and
if Teron Armstead, if he's an A- or an A, and Trevor Penning is a B-, you can work with that, or C+. I think you can work with that.
Yeah.
Then Olave upgrades the pass receivers.
Absolutely. But I'm saying, like, if they are not effective as rookies,
That's
I think this offense may struggle a little bit more than people are expecting. The Giants are reporting on the Giants and the Jets. We'll just cover both of those in one fell swoop. Both reporting on the 19th as well, and both had incredibly fun draft classes. The Giants, of course, came away with Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal in the first round. They also picked up Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver out of Kentucky. I think he's actually like 50-1 maybe to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't hate that. And then for the Jets, they have 60-1 on Caesars. Thank you, Debo. And the Jets have Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, of course, and then added Jermaine Johnson and Breece Hall. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson both 10-1, 11-1, what, below or lower, because of the expectation that they will come in and be immediate impact guys.
Yeah, I love this Jets draft, and I think on paper it looks fantastic. The concern with Wan'Dale Robinson is that maybe he was drafted a little high because he's undersized. And how often do these undersized wide receivers come in and are immediate difference makers? And that's the history. That's the concern historically. I mean, Tyreek Hill is an exception, but he didn't go till day 3 because of the off-field stuff. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that Garrett Wilson's plus 800. Breece Hall is also plus 800. And then Treylon Burks at plus 800. He's had a rough start to off-season workouts. We'll see where he is once training camp gets around. The first-round pick of the Titans. But Christian Watson. And then Ken Walker is plus 1,000, who's the other running back that went in the second round. He went to Seattle. So, I mean, the Jets feel like they could win 6 or 7 games. Where are you at on that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Full Charlie Day reply. If Zach will, it's all in, I mean, this is kind of a no bleep Sherlock take, but like, does Zach Wilson take a leap, or is Zach Wilson, a little overwhelmed and still erratic with highs and lows? Because if it's a former and he takes a step forward as a player, then the Jets' ceiling is a lot higher than anyone's giving him credit for. And if he's still, I mean, he had an up and down year last year, right? Is that fair to say?
Mostly down. And I'll say it again because I haven't said it in a few months. Garrett Wilson reminds me on the field of Odell Beckham, like that sort of athleticism. Chris Olave's a little better route runner. Garrett Wilson has some focus drops, but at the end of the day, it's hard not to love him. Sauce Gardner was awesome at Cincinnati. Jermaine Johnson, there was some conversation that he might go in the top 10, going at the bottom of the first round when they traded back up to get him. Transfer from Georgia, had a big year last year. Then Breece Hall almost beat me up with his eyes at the combine because I said he was my second favorite running back after Ken Walker, but he's awesome. So he's a great player, can help out of the backfield. And all those guys feel like immediate contributors. Probably, if you're going to make me rank them, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and then Jermaine Johnson in terms of immediate contributions. But it's hard to argue with any of these picks in any order.
Yeah. I mean, just really, I mean, it's like the Giants, and I know it's the offseason, it's the draft. Like, we're giving credit for,
And by the way, Evan Neal is now going to join Andrew Thomas. So they've got bookends in terms of top 5 picks. I'm pretty sure Andrew Thomas went that high. So Danny Dimes is officially out of options.
Excuses.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a make or break year for Danny Dimes. Not so much for Zach Wilson, although the pressure in New York, quarterback gets turned up pretty.
Well, if they have a top 5 pick and they have all these quarterbacks coming out that are supposed to be what we think they are right now, then it is going to be a problem.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it's so tough too, because if you're, Joe Douglas, the GM for the Jets, and you took Zach Wilson and you convinced your ownership that he is the guy and that's why you drafted him. And then you have a top 5 pick, but like maybe you love Devin Leary out of NC State or Bryce Young or whichever one of the top quarterbacks in the country you prefer.
I think the NC State's coming to Syracuse this year, so I'll get to see Devin Leary in person.
Man, you're going to be impressed.
All right, looking forward to it.
He has a friggin' cannon.
Is he transferred in or has he been there the whole time?
Been there the whole time.
Where's he from? Is he North Carolina kid?
Jersey guy.
Jeez, that's weird. I wonder how he got a
little short, but he has an absolute whip.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what that sounds like? Zach Wilson. So that would be funny if he ended up in New York.
All right, let's move to. Anyway, like it's a tough spot for Joe Douglas. If he's like, you're flirting with your job if you're drafting another quarterback in the top.
Well, that's why he hopes to win seven games, and that he could.
You don't want to have a top 5 pick if you're Joe Douglas.
No.
The Patriots report on 7/19. Actually, we'll stick in the AFC East as we have already covered, of course. Two of the teams. The
other
other
teams had the Dolphins too, because there's only one player because they traded everyone to get.
Yeah, so we're gonna say Patriots and Dolphins. 7/19. They're both report. That's Tuesday. Tyquan Thornton. Actually, you know what? You just tell me. You tell me what the guys.
Yeah, so Tyquan Thornton's a burner out of Baylor. He ran in the 4.2s. I didn't love him on the field as much as the Patriots and Prisco. Prisco liked him a lot too as a 2nd-round pick, and that's where he went. He'll certainly give Mac Jones a deep threat. They moved on from N'Keal Harry, who's now in Chicago, and they have my guy Devontae Parker, who I think is going to be a big part of that offense, along with Brinson Scott, Jacoby Myers, and 400 tight ends, Johnny Smith and Hunter Henry. So we'll see what Tyquan Thornton adds. He won't have to come in right away and be a difference maker because of the names I mentioned. And then Marcus Jones is one of my favorite players. Cornerback out of Houston. I bet he's 5'8". I have to go look up his numbers again, but he's diminutive, but he is an absolute baller. If he were 6'1", he'd be a top 15 pick. He can return kicks and punts. He can actually play a little offense. He caught some passes at Houston as well. And he feels, you say this all the time, but it's true. He feels like a Patriots player. And the Dolphins didn't pick until the end of the 3rd round because of the aforementioned Tyreek Hill stuff, the trade. They got Channing Tindall, one of the thousands of athletic linebackers out of Georgia, and just keep it on his impact early on. Of the group, Quay Walker went in the 1st round, Nakobe Dean went in the 3rd round to Debo's Eagles, and then so did Channing Tindall. Nakobe Dean was my favorite, but obviously I think injuries are part of the reason he fell. Quay Walker, the Packers got him at the end of round 1. Again, athleticism oozing out of his pores. Same with Channing Tindall, but I think Channing Tindall is probably the rawest of those 3. So we'll see how he comes along in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that in a perfect world, I don't know. Certainly, the Jets the Jets and the Bills rookies are more interesting than the Pats and the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the only interesting thing about the Patriots is how quickly can Tyquan Thornton run fast straight ahead, and can Mac Jones throw the ball that far?
Right, because it's really like I mean, Pete Prisco has been talking about this for like 10 years, but the Pats have lacked a vertical element to their offense.
Well, Pete loves Tyquan Thornton, so we'll see how this works out. And just I'll go on record. Pete had a fantastic draft late April, early May.
Pete Prisco?
Over those 3 days, but there's still an opportunity for all those picks to blow up in his face, which is what I'm hoping for in the long run.
What do you mean he had a fantastic draft? Like,
in terms of the quarterbacks falling, like he had Malik going in the 3rd round. He was
getting roasted for that on Twitter too.
He had no quarterbacks getting drafted in the 2nd round. He loved the Tyquan Thornton deal, the pick. He'd been talking up Tyquan Thornton in the days leading up to the draft and weeks. So a lot of the things that he liked played out. But like I said, there's still opportunity for him to go belly up on this thing if the players in the long run.
And in a perfect world, Pete does in fact go belly up and ends up looking like a fool. That's best case. The Chargers final team we'll talk about rookies reporting on Tuesday, the 19th. They've had a pretty good run on 1st round picks. The Chargers have
Rashawn Slater, who was
Herbert, not a bad
Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater, now Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson is, I say this about a lot of guys, but he is one of my favorite players in this draft class. Played left tackle at BC because of need. He's going to play guard in Los Angeles. Played center at the Senior Bowl. Extremely versatile, extremely athletic, extremely smart. Davidson transfer. So you have him, and then you have Rashawn Slater and Sweet Mercy, Justin Herbert, and then Isaiah Spiller. So Isaiah Spiller was sort of got some 1st round buzz a year ago this time. Ended up falling to, I think, the 4th round is where he ended up going. But I love the idea of him as a complement to Austin Eckler. And they're not similar type players, and that Eckler's a little smaller, probably a lot faster, but they do a lot of the same things in terms of the ability to run and catch the ball out of the backfield. So in the same way that James Cook is an option for Josh Allen in Buffalo, I think Isaiah Spiller is going to have those opportunities in Los Angeles with a team that I don't know have you looked at the odds recently to win the division between KC and the Chargers? Because I might be in on the Chargers this year, whole hog.
I believe that the Chiefs are +1. Let me look. I got it right here actually. Debo can toss it up if he feels so inclined. Chiefs are +155. Chargers are +250.
Yeah, I sort of like the Chargers.
I mean, the Raiders are 7-1
And what's Denver?
+250.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I like the Chargers. I like Las Vegas.
I would take the Chiefs and the Raiders, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm just in the camp of, if you're giving me Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at 1.5 to 1, I'm going to take that.
How much is Tyreek Hill worth to you? Or the replacement? Although that's another one. We'll see when they open camp. But they got Sky Moore, who's going to be a fun little player to watch. Not going to be Tyreek Hill, but I mean, how do you replace Tyreek Hill? I guess is my point.
So this is I'm workshopping this phrase. I plan on using it a lot leading up to the season. They're going Frankenstein. They're going to try to Frankenstein their way to replacing Tyreek Hill.
All right, who gets those targets? Juju.
So Juju's your underneath slot guy who can just eat up anybody who's trying to cover him on like underneath, and then MVS is your deep guy, and then you also have Sky Moore, and you have Mecole Hardman who like can do all the gadgety screens and
Will that get you the neck bolts and the haircut of Frankenstein?
Yeah, we still need arms and legs. It's a problem.
Yeah.
But like I just think that's sort of their plan, and I don't know if it'll work, but I trust Andy Reid, and they still.
So you trust that more than Justin Herbert year 3 with all those weapons, and now another top flight offensive lineman.
As someone who has picked the Chargers, excuse me, in trendy fashion to win the division like 50 times.
Yeah, but that's because of Phillip Rivers.
Look, man, when the Chargers stopped charging, okay.
They did not make the playoffs last year because of the tie they could not pull off.
Pretty incredible charging moment. So until you stop charging, like let me know when they stop charging, and then I will be on board the Chargers. For now, I will take the Chiefs though.
All right. And by the way, the Chiefs were 3-3 last year. And we were all not you. You were not. I was burying them.
I was saying hammer the Chiefs.
Yeah, you got one right. I'll give you that.
Thank you. All right. On that note, we're out of here. A walk-off win for yours truly. But we are actually done with the podcast. So
that's less than an hour. Holy moly.
I know. And if we hadn't been tattoo talking, probably would have been under 40 minutes. Anywho, we're done. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're back tomorrow, of course, every day from now until the end of time. For Wilson, I'm Brinson.